All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about something called curtailment. It's one of the biggest, yet kind of invisible, risks for any new energy project today. Honestly, this one word can make or break a multi-million-dollar investment. So we're going to unpack exactly what it means and why it's such a huge deal.
Just picture this for a second. You've poured years of your life and a ton of money into building a brand new state-of-the-art solar farm. The sun is shining, everything's ready to go, you're about to start making clean, profitable energy. And then you get the call. Power down. You have to stop. And just like that, you're losing money by the second, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. That feeling, that's the reality of curtailment.
So what are we actually talking about here? Well, officially, curtailment is a direct order to cut your electricity output, even when you're perfectly capable of producing it. It's not just some abstract risk. For new projects, it is the single biggest unknown in their financial models. It's the one thing that can determine whether a project is a huge success or a total failure.
To really get why this happens, we need a simple way to think about it. So let's start with Section 1, a grid traffic jam.
The easiest way to think about our electricity grid is to imagine it's a highway system. It can only handle so much traffic. Now, every power plant, solar, wind, you name it, is like a car trying to get on that highway to deliver its power. But what happens on a really sunny and windy day? Well, too many cars try to get on at once and you get a massive traffic jam. That grid congestion, that traffic jam, that's the core reason curtailment even exists.
Okay, so if there's a traffic jam on the grid, who gets told to pull over? That brings us right to Section 2, the last in, first off rule.
And this right here is the crucial part. The grid works on a queuing system called LIFO. It stands for last in, first off. And it's as brutal as it sounds. The newest projects, the ones that just connected to the grid, are the very first ones that get shut down when that traffic jam hits. All of a sudden, the date you connected becomes maybe the most important thing about your entire project.
So let's walk through this. Let's say it's your new project. Step 1, you connect to the grid. Step 2, you are now at the very back of a long line, behind everyone who was there before you. Step 3, the grid gets congested. And Step 4, because you were the last one in, you're the first one out. All those older projects get to keep running while your brand new asset is forced to just sit there.
And here's the painful, ironic twist in all of this. For a solar farm, this often means being forced to switch off during the sunniest parts of the day. You know, the exact time it's supposed to be generating the most power and the most revenue. It's kind of like building a brand new coffee shop and then being told you're only allowed to open for business after 10 p.m. It just makes no sense.
So this all sounds pretty bad, obviously. But what does it actually mean for the bottom line, for the money? Let's get into Section 3, the true financial cost.
Now you might be thinking the math here is simple. If you're told to stop producing 20% of your energy, you lose 20% of your revenue, right? Well, no. It's actually not that straightforward at all. The real financial hit can be wildly different.
You have to understand the difference between the headline number and the effective financial impact. The headline number is the total volume of energy you couldn't sell, let's say 20%. But the effective impact is the actual money you lost. Think about it. Curtailment happens when the grid is flooded with too much power. And when that happens, prices are often already at rock bottom. Sometimes they're even negative. So that 20% of lost energy might only translate to a 3 to 6% loss in actual revenue.
But, and this is a huge but, it can swing the other way too. Sometimes curtailment can hit during those rare, super high-value periods. You know, those few hours when electricity prices spike and you're expecting to make a huge chunk of your profits for the month? If you get cut off then, a small loss in volume can translate to a massive loss in revenue. It really proves it's not just how much energy you lose, it's when you lose it that really truly matters.
So as you can see, this is way more complicated than just knowing your spot in line. The LIFO queue is the big rule, but there are a whole bunch of other forces at play. Which brings us to Section 4, beyond the queue.
To really figure out your risk, you have to look at all these other layers. There's attrition, which means some of those projects ahead of you in line might never get built, which is good for you. There's the temporal profile. Curtailment risk changes with the seasons and even the time of day. Then there are the physical limits of the grid itself, the actual capacity of the wires and transformers. And if that wasn't enough, the rules of the whole queue system are constantly being reformed. It's a lot.
Okay, so how in the world do you put all of these pieces together? Let's try to do that and wrap this up in Section 5, the curtailment puzzle.
So here's the key takeaway.
Curtailment isn't a single, simple problem. It's a really complex puzzle that sits right at the intersection of three huge, complicated things: the physics of the power grid, the economics of the energy market, and the constantly changing world of regulatory policy. If you want to get curtailment right, you have to understand how all of those pieces fit together and influence each other.
And all of this leaves us with one final massive question. Right now, we're in the middle of a truly historic energy transition. We're building solar and wind power faster than ever before. But is our grid, that highway system for our electricity, is it actually ready for all that new traffic? That's the billion-dollar, maybe even trillion-dollar question that's going to define the future of energy.